Well, good morning, everybody. Obviously, getting ready for another road trip in the Big 12 and headed to Stillwater. Always a challenging place to play, has been, always my entire career, really. Even back in my days at the University of Arkansas in the late 90s and early 2000s, and then being in the Big 12 at A&M and then coming here. So just always has been a tough place to play, and we're going to need to go in there and play well. So excited about the opportunity. Obviously, really pleased with how we played the other night, and got to try to bottle that up a little bit and keep that same focus and energy that we had, because we played awfully well Tuesday night. That was, again, I was really impressed with our kids and how they responded and played. Kansas is really good. Brandon's a heck of a coach. That's a veteran team coming back from winning the NIT a year ago. And our kids were really special. So we got to get ready to go on the road. I think Oklahoma State's lost one game all year at home. And so we're going to have to play really well and go in there and execute. And I'm excited to see our kids today. Yesterday was a day off, and deserved, very, very well deserved. We had gone about 10 straight without a day off. So when you play Saturday, Tuesday, you don't get that day off over the weekend, and that's challenging. So I'm sure the kids were glad to have it. And so we'll get back at it today and get ready to go play on the road.
Danny, you want to start us off?
Sure. I guess I'll start off with my customary Dianna question that you knew was coming. How's she doing? Kind of what's the update with her?
Yeah, so she saw foot doctor yesterday, a specialist, and obviously not near as bad as the first time. I mean, she's already walking on it, and the first time she was on crutches, I think 2 or 3 weeks before she could even start walking. So she feels like it's not near as bad as the first time. I think the doctor's cautiously optimistic, but being a good doctor, he's very careful with her. But she's chomping at the bit to try to get back, and you love that about her and love that about any athlete and competitor. So I think we'll get through the week and give that thing a chance to calm down, and then kind of see where we are next week, and kind of go from there. I think it's fair to say she's out this weekend, and then it'll be a constant thing of evaluating, Danny, to be honest with you. But I don't think it's fair to give you a time frame, because I think the kid's got her own time frame in her head, and so we're gonna if she can do it, I think the doctor's open to whatever she feels comfortable with.
Now that you guys are whatever it is, six games into conference play, so what are your kind of thoughts about this conference, where it's at? I mean, you guys have seen some good teams, but TCU is kind of dealing with what TCU is dealing with. Kansas State's off to a good start. Iowa State's maybe a little bit better than expected with some of the way their freshmen are playing. Just kind of what's your thoughts on this conference right now?
Well, I certainly think we've played some of the better teams in our league, obviously, and it's not an easy road to hoe, and so we've there's a lot of parity, a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. I mean, I say that all the time, and this is the league and the fishbowl we live in here, and so I just think that on any given night, anybody can win, and you better be ready. And if you're not only going to get beat, you're going to get embarrassed. You've heard me say that before. So I think that's the challenge all of us as coaches have. We're a third of the way through the league now, and it's tough, no question about it. And we've had our fair share of tough games already. Had some really tough road games at some places where the road team's not going to fare well. And we've actually gone 2-1 in those. So, you know, our home and homes this year are with some really good teams. And so we're going to have to answer that bell, you know, throughout the season. But it's a tough league. I mean, I've always respected the people in this league, the coaches and the players, because in my mind, I know what it's about. I've lived in this league many times, many years of my career, and I have the utmost respect for the coaches and the jobs that them and their staffs do getting these kids ready to play. And then the competitiveness of the league, future WNBA players. I mean, it's just every night it's a gauntlet. So it's a tough league, but that's what you sign up for.
Jeff?
Coach, I'd love to hear a little bit about Amo. We've seen her role change, obviously, season to season, overcome the injury, and this year I think her role has kind of changed even week to week this season. What's something you learned about her as a person or her as a player that you didn't know when you were recruiting her?
First of all, Jeff, you do a great job on the TV. I appreciate your coverage of our team. Y'all are kind of the first ones I go to when I try to catch all three stations, and so appreciate you. You know,
Coach, I can guarantee I'm running that part of the soundbite tonight. Okay.
I should have started ruining it by talking.
You know, I just think with Aaliyah, you know, her freshman year, I can remember we went and played UCLA in a closed door scrimmage up in Dallas. I went to her late in the game. We were down 1, and I went to her and she delivered. And I thought, okay, this freshman's going to be really, really everything that we think she's going to be. She's a confident kid. She's really skilled, really smart, talented. Then she gets hurt like 3 or 4 games into her freshman year. It takes 2+ months to get her back. She helps us make a run late in the year, helps us beat Baylor in the Big 12 tournament championship game. Big role in that, big role in the NCAA tournament. You're fired up and excited about her going into her sophomore year. She plays on the USA 3-on-3 team that summer. I think they won silver. And then they might have won gold. And then she comes back, and 8 games into her sophomore year, she gets hurt. And just like with Rory, you're devastated. It's difficult. You hate it for the kid, for the family. She has such a wonderful mom and grandma. And so, you know, you lived last year without her. Obviously, Gaston stepped up and had a first-team All-Big 12 year. But what you find out in that time is that she's such a great teammate. She's constantly, you know, on that bench, being a positive, energetic kid on the bench. You know, a lot like what Rory's been doing lately here. But that, to me, shows the character of a person in their times of difficulty. You know, how do they respond, and how do they, you know, just who they really are. And she was so good, even as, you know, no, I mean, that's hard to go through, y'all. Like, this is what they do. It's what they love. It's why they're here. All of a sudden, it's just yanked out from underneath them. And they're young, they're kids. They've never gone through anything like this. And so, you know, I think she really, again, it just shows really her true character, who she is, by how she responded last year as a teammate. And then this year, it's taken a while to get that rust knocked off. You know, she got cleared, but as I've said many times, just because a doctor clears you, they're clearing you for full participation. That means you haven't been fully participating, which means you haven't done anything at game speed against other people on the floor. And you just can't simulate that in a one-on-none, standing around shooting, working with the strength coach on agility. You can't simulate practice and game speed. And so you got to knock the rust off once you're fully cleared. And that usually takes another month or two, if not longer. And so it's hard. You want it. I want it so bad for her, and she wants it bad. Everybody wants it bad for her, but it just takes time. And that's where we're at now. Right now is that she's put in some really good time here lately. And that's why she's, I think, seeing the fruits of her labor. She's playing well for us. She's now strung together some really good games for us. Had a double-double at Tech, was on her way to having one at West Virginia. I think she maybe had a little foul trouble, if I'm not mistaken. And then, has played well here of late, played really well against Kansas. So I'm just happy for her. I know how bad she wants it. And Lord knows I want it bad for her. Again, great kid. And you just hate to see these kids have to go through some of this hardship. But, they're going to come out on the back end of this thing so much better for it. And it's going to impact their life somewhere down the line. They're going to look back at this and go, hey, I see now, maybe why that happened, or because that happened, this is why I am who I am today. We all have those things that happen in our life. I truly believe I went through what I went through with my own mother, being with her the last 6 months of her life and seeing her every day. That helped me get through what I went through with my son when I almost lost him. That prepared me for that moment. And so these things happen. But I'm really proud of her, happy for her, and excited about our team in the future, because we need her to be what she's been here lately.
Roger?
Well, despite having my confidence totally shattered,
I haven't answered you.
I'm going to step up to the free throw line and hit these shots anyway. No, you talk Saturday about, sometimes you just need a little more from others. As a coach, how do you, and how frustrating is knowing what you have, but some nights you just can't get out of players what you think they're capable of. And like you said, in a one possession game, that can be the difference.
Yeah, I mean, you're there for most of them, in person with us, especially on the road. And again, Roger, I would say this, I'm going to say this to all, we really appreciate everybody who covers us and does such a thorough job. I mean, you guys are such pros at what y'all do. And I appreciate it. I pay attention to it. I try to catch everybody on every night that I think we're going to have something on there. So just want you to know too, in all sincerity, how much we appreciate that. And the answer is, that's what every coach strives for, is that consistency, right? And I tell our kids all the time, for me as a coach, when I get my program to the point, when I get my team to the point where all I'm worried about is making sure that X player, Y player, Z player, all I got to make sure they know is what time we're leaving and where the bus is loading from. If that's all I have to worry about, because I know what I'm going to get from X, Y, and Z player every night, now we got something. And so that's the consistency piece. On my great teams, on my 37-2, 33-3, 34-5, like, all I had to worry about is making sure, Tierra McCown, Victoria Vivians, Morgan William, Blair Schaefer, they all knew where the bus was loading and what time we were loading. And I knew I was going to get X, Y, and Z from them every night. Dominique Dillingham, I knew she just knew where the bus was loading and what time. I knew what I was going to get from her. And so I just think that's where we're trying to get to. But every coach strives for that consistency piece. Whether we're at home or on the road, we're going to play the same way. We're going to execute the same way. We're going to have the same focus, the same mental preparation. That's the challenge of every coach. But again, as you see so much with us on the road, that's the home court advantage that a lot of places have. And, it's just, it is what it is. And that's college athletics in any sport.
And if I could follow up, Shay, what she does for you, can you explain as a coach, if she doesn't score a basket in a game, the value she still brings to you guys?
to me, it's one of the best compliments a coach can give to anyone when they talk about someone being the glue to their team. And she's the glue to our team. I don't like it when she doesn't score. She went 0 for 3 at K-State. But again, Shay is somebody that I know I can count on night in, night out, because she's going to play her heart out. She's going to do her absolute best. So she's not someone that I worry about every day. When I walk in the gym every day, I know exactly what I'm getting from her. And you can't argue it, complain about it. She's in there with a smile on her face every day, works her tail off, competitor, tough. And so, if I had 15 of them like that I knew every day what I was going to get, like I get from her, that's when you're going to have a chance to win a national championship. So, we're getting there. We've got a few that are like that, but you got to get everybody. Everybody in the room has got to embrace a role, and they got to fulfill that role every day. But Shay Holly, and she's been that way her whole career, y'all. She's just been the same, go to work, hard-nosed, blue collar, and she's consistent. But here's the thing, she's gotten better, I think, every year that she's been here. And that doesn't happen unless you're working on your craft and you care. And I think that's another a compliment for her, is she just cares. She cares deeply about her teammates. She cares deeply about the University of Texas. She knows that there's certain ways we want to do things, and she cares enough to try to do them that way. And so we certainly wouldn't be where we are in the 4 years I've been here. Not just this year, not just last year. I'm talking about all 4 years. We wouldn't be where we've been and where we are today without Shay Holly.
Chip?
Vic, when Rory was your tip of the spear leader on the floor when the bleep hit the fan. She was the one that was gonna get everyone together and get everyone refocused. Who's that player now on the floor?
Well, Chip, I've likened it, Rory was the heartbeat and the pulse of our team. And I think the rest of our body, the rest of our team, functioned because of that. Obviously, we've taken that out of our lineup. It's still a part of our team. She's still over there on the side. She still has a voice. She commands the respect of everyone on that team, but it's like open heart surgery. Our heart has been affected, but now as a doctor, we got to rewire the heart so the heart can still function and supply the team, right? And so we're trying to develop that right now. And if there's one person I think that can do that right now, it's probably, it's probably Shay. Shay don't say a lot, but when she does speak up, she commands the room. And, I think there's probably 2 or 3 others. I think Booker has a presence with our team. Now, how much she's saying and leading, but with her voice, that's a little difficult for an 18-year-old to do with a bunch of 21, 22-year-olds. But I think, again, because of who she is, the character of her, and the player that she is, she has the respect of her teammates. But I just think that because how hard Shay works, because of her commitment to excellence, Shaylee Gonzalez is the same way. I just can't get Shaylee to do it. But Shaylee, extremely hard worker. I know what I'm getting from Shaylee every day, every game, every day. Like, she is consistent every single day. And so those kids command, to me, they have the respect of their teammates. And I just got to get them to step up and try to help a little bit in that area. But I think right now our team, we're in a good place. We're kind of starting to figure it out. the consistency piece is still a challenge. How people try to deal with us is still a bit of a challenge schematically, but gosh, you can't argue with how these kids have played since Rory went down. I mean, it's really amazing. It really is. I mean, you've been around, Chip. You know what happened when Wacker went down. That was the pulse and the heartbeat of that team. And there's been some other teams around here that have had similar things, and they didn't respond or couldn't. It wasn't probably that they didn't, they just couldn't, you know, wasn't that they didn't want to, but they didn't find a way. And I'm just really proud of this group to date that they found a way to be who they are and to respond the way they have. I can't share some things with y'all, but we've been in both them other
Go
games.
ahead.
Well, I can't, but I'm just telling you, we were good enough to win both those other games and should have won those other two games, be honest. But things happen that are out of our control, and I just can't do anything about it. But the fact of the matter is, this team has been good enough to be 6-0. And it's, you know, but it's not because our kids aren't trying. I've said this before. If there's something we're not doing, it isn't because these kids aren't trying. They're trying their heart out. These are some great kids, and they are absolutely, they're playing their heart out, man. And I can't do anything but respect them for that.
Quick follow-up, having a 6'1" point guard, if we're gonna go down, you know, old school lane, Magic Johnson, when he took over the point, I mean, in the men's game, a 6'8", 6'7" guy at the point, is that equivalent to a 6'1" point guard like Booker? Or
Yeah, Magic was 6'9", and you know, he was kind of the first one of his day, and not been very many 6'9" point guards since, if I'm correct, in any sport. And so I just, obviously, y'all, I've always done, you know, my teams have always had we've been a little different there, but you have to just really admire Madison for how she's responded. Again, it just, to me, it speaks to her character, how unselfish she is. She just wants to win. Great article in the paper today by Kirk Bowles. I mean, like her mama said, she don't care about anything but winning. That says a lot about a kid in today's world, in today's sports, in today's college athletics. And that's who she is. And you can't help but admire, respect, and love someone like that. As a teammate, you can't help but be thankful to have somebody like that. And she's embracing it. She's wanting to learn and get better. She's going to be so much better off from this down the road in her career. You know, Rory's coaching her from the side and talking to her. And when she talks about Rory, she talks about her as her PG and how she can't wait for her PG to be back and she can get back to her old spot on the wing. But right now, Madison is doing an unbelievable job at leading our team and yet and still doing what she needs to do statistically to help us win. I think Jeremy wrote it. I mean, you got some special freshmen across the country. She's the only one that's scored 20 plus points, had X number of rebounds and X number of assists against top 20 teams. I think she's done it 3 times, and she's the only one. And so she's really, it's amazing. And because of her size, I saw it recruiting her, y'all. I've seen her play point before. I didn't just throw her out there this summer and go, hey, let's see if you can be the point guard in case, you know, something ever happens. Like, I knew going in, the kid has great court vision. She sees the floor. She's unselfish to a fault, sometimes overpassing, but she enjoys the assist as much as she enjoys making the basket herself. again, not very common in today's world. And so it just, it goes to show you about who she is and what she's all about. And, we're fortunate to have her, y'all. She's got a chance to be like Rory, a 4-time All-American. And she's playing at an unbelievable All-American level right now, pretty much unmatched by a bunch of folks across the country. And I've told Jeremy, I don't know what's the number one on his plate, but it needs to be making sure that kid is All-American this year, because she's doing it, y'all. And y'all know it. Y'all been covering sports here for a long time. Y'all know what you're looking at. And she's playing at an incredible level right now.
Danny, you got one more?
I do. Kind of going off what you were talking about a little earlier, but I don't think we've asked you this. What is your thoughts on the way that the conference formatted its schedule? I don't know if there's a better solution, but obviously with not getting every team twice and having to go some places and having some places come to y'all, what were your thoughts on the schedule format?
I mean, it's probably the only way you can do it. I mean, you can't play 28 conference games or 26. I think there 14 of us in the league or 16 this year. I think there's 14. So you're not going to play 28 conference games, play everybody twice. Obviously some teams are going to play some teams twice, some teams once, some teams are going to be, and they had to make the schedule based on projections, what they thought some team was going to be, could be, might be. That's a hard way to make a schedule. But in the end of the day, I mean, I don't know what else they could have done. I mean, really, it's just, there's just not a, I don't know that there's an exact science, Danny, really, unless you just played everybody once. And then after everybody's played each other once, you look at the records and go, okay, this is the records. This is what we're going to do to make it fair for everybody the next month. You know what I mean? That'd be the only way you could do it, and you're not going to do it that way. So, I think they did the best job they could and had good intentions. And so the schedule is what it is. You got to line up and go play. Obviously we've got teams in our league that we've been playing for, 80, 90 years here at Texas. And so there's a little more history and tradition going into those games and some of the new teams that we have on the block. But at the end of the day, you got to go play. And, whether it's a team you've played for 80 or 90 years or a team that you've never played, you're still going to get their best shot. I mean, Danny, you hear the TV announcers talking about it. When I'm watching scouting film and watching a TV version, they're talking about how, oh yeah, this is Texas' last time through Manhattan. When they come to Manhattan next week, you want to be that team that when Texas came here for the last time, you want to be that team that beat them. And, again, it is what it is. I mean, it's our last rodeo. It's our last time through, and we can't change that. And at the same time, it really doesn't, I don't know that it adds that much to it already, because we still are Texas. We're still, we can still get everybody's best shot, their best focus. And so that's what we sign up for, though. When we put on the orange and white and got Texas on our chest, that's what we sign up for. So I wouldn't have it any other way. Why fight it? Let's run to it, man. Let's run to that challenge. Let's embrace it. Like my sweatshirt I have says, it's Texas versus everyone. And I mean everyone. Every time we walk in a gym, it's us against everyone. And that's how it feels. Right, wrong, or indifferent. So why run from that? Run to it, embrace it, and let's go. That's it.